Know your Lord. We learn about his names and his attributes. Know your Lord. What he approves and disapproves. Know your Lord. Believe in all things that he has brought forth. Know his oneness, Lord.
Know Your Lord, part of the Right Belief series by Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid, right here on Sunnahfollowers. Being taught by Ustada Layla Nashiba as she lays down the foundations to get you together. Learn about your Lord. Know your Lord. Streaming on all major platforms. Channel Sunnahfollowers. Assalamu alaikum. Get to know your Lord. First part of the Right Belief series by Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid. This dynamic literary work of art's main goal is to revive an understanding the names and attributes of Allah. And understanding the name and attributes of Allah will elevate our faith, strengthen us, and keep us steadfast. This wonderful book is now available in an audiobook format and can be found free of charge on YouTube, channel Kareem Abu Zaid. Get to know your Lord. You have nothing to lose.
We spent the past several weeks speaking about faith, how it's all about our belief system. And the English word faith, I want you guys to know that faith means belief. That's a synonym. When we talk about faith, we're talking about what you believe in. Belief is a synonym of the word faith. All of us say we believe in Allah. But as we've discussed, you can look at our choices, the choices that we're making in life, and see that most of us don't believe in Allah. Look at the lifestyles we're living. Look at how we've compromised the laws of Allah for a piece of this dunya. Look at how we think we can change Islam and do all this stuff, that we're doing, So we say we believe in Allah, but how many of us really do? And then as we talked about, we have this big group of Muslims. A large majority of the Muslims believe that your belief system, that what you believe is in your heart and it's not impacted by your actions. Y'all know that the majority of the Muslims follow that ideology. They follow the ideology of the Mu'tazili, the ideology of the Murji'ah, which has so many different groups, which they themselves are branches of the Mu'tazili. And we have the largest group here in America, the Hanafiya. Okay, they really believe that a person's faith does not change. If the simple fact that I say I believe in Allah, that's all I need. And because I say I believe in Allah, I'm going to get in heaven. I'm going to make it to paradise. That's the Murji'ah way of thinking. And that's most American Muslims. They believe that just say you believe in Allah and that's it. Now you're saved, because all you need is an ounce of faith and you'll come out of the hellfire. And this is incorrect. We spent the past several weeks disproving this idea. Okay, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us that faith goes up and down. He also told us that when a person deliberately and intentionally commits a sin, whatever faith you had in your heart disappears completely. This is an authentic hadith, Sahih Bukhari. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, you are not a believer at the time that you are committing a sin. When you commit a sin, all your faith, belief in Allah disappears from your heart, and it doesn't come back. It doesn't come back. It doesn't come back until you stop doing the sin. This is what our prophet said. Okay? He said, whatever is in your heart is going to show through your actions. The simple fact that you're smoking a cigarette every 15 minutes, you ain't got no faith in your heart. I'm sorry, guys. I want y'all to think about this because I thought about this last night. I said, Subhanallah. I was thinking as I was trying to fall asleep. And I was thinking, Subhanallah, when I present this class today, I was saying, I really hope that the Muslims understand this reality because I'm breaking this down in plain, simple English. I'm not using no Arabic. I'm using grassroots English. Grassroots, which is the simplest form of English. Imagine a person that smokes a cigarette. That the hardest high, the hardest intoxicant to overcome is nicotine. Anybody will tell you that because that high only lasts a few seconds. It only lasts a few seconds, the nicotine high. So you're going to keep smoking a cigarette over and over again to get that rush that you get when you smoke that first cigarette when you wake up. You go to sleep for 2 hours, wake up, that first cigarette, man, ain't nothing like it. That's that high, but it only lasts 10 seconds, 20 seconds at the most. Then you come down. So 15 minutes later, you're going to smoke another one. 15 minutes later, another one. Every 15 minutes, you got a cigarette trying to catch that high, that initial high that you got when you woke up. So our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whenever you deliberately, intentionally disobey Allah, every Muslim knows that it's haram to smoke cigarettes. When you commit a sin, the faith that you had in your heart, even if it was an ounce, it all disappears. It doesn't come back until you stop doing a sin. So now imagine this, guys. Every 15 to 30 minutes, you smoking a cigarette. You haven't even given faith time to come back to your heart because you never stopped. To stop the sin means you have to stop doing it. That's the first step. You haven't even stopped smoking. You have to have the intention to never want to smoke again. You have to feel guilty about having smoked that cigarette and then become determined to never do it again. You never stopped. So where is your faith? Every 30 minutes, every hour, you putting a cigarette in your mouth. Every hour, every 30 minutes, you have not given yourself chance to even develop faith. So let's say you driving in your car down the street and you smoking a cigarette. The car begins to skid and you hit a pole. Bam, you dead. What makes you think you had an ounce of faith in you? You didn't have not even a grain of faith because you died smoking a cigarette. So what does that mean? Are you going to be of that percentage that comes out of hell? Well, from the supplication of the prophet said he will make dua asking Allah to remove from the hellfire anyone of his followers who had a grain of faith. You died smoking a cigarette, dude. You didn't have a grain of faith in your heart. Y'all see that? That's why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he explained this hadith to his companions, he said, be careful, because the last deed that you do in this world may determine if you end up in hell forever or paradise. Oh yeah, that's the entire hadith. That's the ending of it. So you smoking a cigarette, that's the last deed that you were doing, and all the faith in your heart was gone, and you died. Bam! What's your status now? So for you Muslims out there who belong to the Murji'ah, and like I said, most Americans fall in that category. Those are the Muslims that in America that you hear saying, all I need is an ounce of faith. The simple fact that you made that statement shows you don't have an ounce of faith. Okay? And while you're sitting there not wearing a hijab, the same thing. You don't wear hijab. You don't cover your body. There's no faith in your heart. Every time you put on your clothes and you go out the house to go to work, all the iman is gone because your hair is out, or you're dressed but you're showing your behind. You're not dressed according to the laws of Islam. This is a sin. This is a sin. You're deliberately, intentionally disobeying Allah by not covering your body. So there is no faith in your heart at all. So while you at work, somebody comes in your job and has a postal attack and starts shooting everybody. You get shot and you die. Where's the ounce of faith? You died in sin. You died in contradiction to what Allah commanded you to die. Where was your faith? The prophet said there is all the iman leaves your heart. All iman, not just a piece of it. All of it leaves. And it doesn't come back until you stop sinning. You never wore hijab. You died in disrespect to Allah and disobedience to Allah. Y'all see what I'm saying? Y'all see where I'm going? So where's that ounce of faith at? You didn't have that ounce in your heart. So again, like the prophet said, the last deed that you do can determine if you end up in hell or paradise. So be careful. This is the way we have to think as Muslims. Too many of us take Allah for granted. Too many of us play with Allah's religion. Oh, I'm not going to wear hijab. That's okay. All I need is an ounce of faith. Are you aware that not wearing hijab means you have no faith at all in your heart? It's gone. The iman is gone. So when Allah tells the angels of death to remove from the hellfire anyone with a grain of faith, you died without a grain of faith in your heart. Now do y'all understand the other hadith where the prophet said a man who dies a drunkard will be raised up as a kafir? Now y'all understand that hadith? The man who dies a fornicator will be raised up as a kafir. This is all the same khutbah that the prophet gave. He gave a long khutbah on sins and faith and how it disappears. You have to use the science of connectivity. You have to know the science of connectivity. You have to know the history of the hadiths, the story behind it, the who, what, where, when, why, and know that this was a long khutbah and connect them together. That's why he said a man who dies a drunk, you'll be raised up as a kafir, because whatever grain of faith you had in your heart is gone, because it disappears when you're drinking. And the prophet shared that and he was talking to one of the companions who he really liked. But this companion kept getting drunk. This companion could not stop drinking. And the companion said, I love you, O prophet, and I love Allah. And that's when the prophet gave this long khutbah, that where he spoke about how faith leaves. Your belief in Allah leaves at the time that you're sinning, and it doesn't come back until you stop. He was talking to this companion who had a problem drinking. He said, what if Allah took your soul? You don't even have a grain of faith for me to make dua to get you out of hell with. And the prophet loved that companion. But that companion couldn't stop drinking. But that companion ended up stopping after this. The prophet made dua for him. When that companion heard this khutbah, he told the prophet, oh, pray for me, because I do love you. And I do want to be with you on the day of judgment. And that companion stopped drinking. Because when he learned that the prophet can't even save him, he said, much as I love you, I can't even save you from the hellfire, because your love for this alcohol is greater than your love for me. It's greater than your love for Allah. He said, so my dua is not going to help you. That companion put that bottle down after that. And now that I'm sharing these hadiths with you guys and giving you the meaning of them, is it impacting any of you? For you sisters who say you can't stop smoking, knowing that if that cigarette, if you don't stop, that you don't have a grain of faith in your heart, is that enough to make you stop like it made that companion stop getting drunk? Knowing that the faith, the belief in Allah disappears when you're sinning, is that going to make you, sister, start covering your body when you leave the house? Is that going to make you put on a abaya? Is that going to make you to stop showing your butt, to stop showing your breasts in the public? Because should you die that way, there was no faith in your heart, and the prophet's supplication is not going to help you. That's why the prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and this is the same khutbah he gave. He also said, and this is the same khutbah, never, he told the companions, never, ever, ever forget the destroyer of life, the destroyer of pleasure, which is death. Because death can come knocking at any of our doors at any second. And if death catches you while you are disobeying Allah, you ain't got no faith in your heart. And that means you're going to be raised up with those kafirs on the day of judgment. And his supplication can't save you because you died without a grain of faith in your heart. Do y'all get it? Do y'all get that? That should be enough right there for you new shahadas. For you sisters who were texting me about how you having a hard time covering your body, that should be enough to make you cover up. For you brothers that claim that y'all can't let go of them Camel cigarettes, that should be enough to make you let it go. If you truly got an ounce, because that's what it takes. If there's an ounce of belief, that should have been enough to make y'all stop. So we spent the past several weeks talking about faith. And once a person truly has belief in Allah and is showing through your actions, you're obeying Allah, you're doing the things He commanded us to do, you're fulfilling those obligations like hijab, like the prayer, like fasting. Now you can concentrate on trying to redevelop your relationship to a closer level with Him. And that's what we're going to speak about. Let me put the PowerPoint up on the screen. Yeah, that's the science of connectivity. The same way we use it with the Quran, it's the science of the Hadith. You know, that's why I tell you guys, you'll never understand the Quran till you learn those Hadiths. And the Hadiths connect together. These are khutbahs that the Prophet was given. You have to know the biography. You have to know his life. You got to know the history, what was happening to make the Prophet say what he say and know how this was not, he didn't say one sentence. He gave a 10-page khutbah about this. The Prophet was heavy-winded. He was a heavy-winded man. When it came to talking about the deen, he never tired of speaking about Allah. He didn't speak in one sentence. Okay, you have to know the connectivity. Okay, that's how these hadiths get taken out of context. All I need is 1 grain. Yeah. Did you die with a grain of faith in your heart? That's my comeback. Did you die committing a sin? Did you die out in the street without your hijab on? Did you die with a cigarette in your hand? If you did, I'm sorry. That 1 grain was not in your heart. That supplication ain't going to help you. That's why the prophet said there's going to be more people in hell than paradise. We have to keep that in mind. Like the prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, out of every 1,000 people you know, how many of us even know 1,000? Out of every 1,000 people you know, 999 of them will be in hell. Now can y'all see why? Because I know a lot of people that's committing a lot of sin publicly. They better hope death don't come knocking, because ain't no grain of faith in that your heart. Most people gonna be in hell. That's a reality. That's what Allah said, not me. So let's put the PowerPoint up on the screen. Yeah, it's something that's scary. It's very scary. We got to check ourselves. That goes for me too. I'm always checking myself too to make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. That's why I don't go nowhere. I don't go out in the streets because Layla gets in trouble. Because Layla got a problem lowering her gaze. Oh yeah, I'm human. I'm human. I got a problem lowering my gaze. I like to look at pretty things. So I stay home. I don't want to die looking at something I ain't had no business looking at. Okay, can y'all see this? I'm trying to, hold on, slideshow. There it is. So today we're going to go into detail about what it means to believe in Allah. But of course, as I promised you guys, I'm going to start off with just 2 questions about the obstacles of faith. Like I promised you guys, because this is what y'all want me to do. Okay, here's the first question. Abdul has been taught that since America is a non-Muslim country, we may not be able to abide by all of Allah's commandments. For example, if we got a family member who is part of the LGBTQ community, we should not distance ourselves from them because this is America. We can't do that. Is this an example of the 3 obstacles that stand between a person's faith and Allah? And if so, which one would it be? First of all, answer the first part. Does this scenario fall in the category of obstacles of faith? What do y'all think?
Yes.
Okay, and if so, which one? Which obstacle is this person suffering from?
Conjecture. Yes.
You guys agree? MashaAllah, this is correct. And most Muslims today are suffering with this. Most Muslims today in America think that because this is America, you know, we can't live by all of Allah's laws. Did the Prophet Muhammad live in a Muslim state? No. Did the companions live in a Muslim state? No, but they still abided by Allah's laws. But this is what we're hearing from American Muslims, that they can make rules. They can change the laws of Allah. They're changing as we speak right now. They're in conferences right now, changing the laws of Allah. Oh yeah. They're in conferences right now as we speak, putting together laws that contradict and rules that contradict Allah's commandments, and they're using the excuse that we live in a kafir society. When have the Muslims never lived in a kafir society? And let me even bring it home. Name one Muslim country on this earth. Can anybody name for me one Islamic state on this earth? Is there an Islamic country anywhere on planet Earth? Anybody? Can anybody tell me, is there an Islamic country anywhere on this earth? No, not even Saudi Arabia. So those Muslims that are gathered together as we speak, and they're working to put together to change the laws of Allah and his commandments because this is a Kafir country, shame on them. All the PhDs they got, they still don't understand La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. They still suffer with conjecture. This is a big problem, and this is going to bring the downfall of Muslims in America real soon. What about this? Amatullah, despite learning that her husband has the right to determine who she associates with, she cannot come to terms with this and is reaching out right now to different people to get their views on this. Is she suffering from an obstacle of faith? And if so, which one? First of all, is she suffering with an obstacle of faith? Is she? What do y'all think? Is she? Anybody? Come on, people. We got another class.
Yes, she is suffering.
Okay, which one is it?
I say delusion.
Yeah, I was looking for that one.
Okay, I'm sorry. Which one did y'all say? I'm sorry.
Delusion.
Yeah, delusion.
Okay, she says deluded. Anybody delusion? Everybody else got a different answer?
I think she couldn't. I think congestion.
Okay, she has learned that her husband has the right to determine. So we can say that she has some delusion about her. Yes, that means she doesn't want to accept the reality. But what good job, Sakina. She's also suffering with doubt, not conjecture. Remember, guys, conjecture is only if you don't know something, if you have misinformation. She doesn't have misinformation. She learned the right information. In fact, she learned it right here at Sunnahfollowers from me. These are real live people I'm talking about. She learned. She comes to class. She saw the verses. She was here for Jamali's class. She heard the verses of the Quran, learned them. How she has to obey her husband. I went over the rights that your husband has over you. This is one of them. But she's a knucklehead American woman. She doesn't want to accept the truth. She doesn't want to yield. So she's on the phone calling everybody and their mother, trying to find somebody that's going to tell her it's okay to not give her husband his right. This is doubt and delusion. And a lot of us Muslims in America suffer with this too. So again, when Allah sends the calamity, and it's coming, it's already here really, when Allah really shoves that calamity on us here in America, y'all remember all these scenarios. And then when y'all scream around, when we running around screaming, why me? Why me? Remember all this. Okay? All right, so let's talk about what it means to believe in Allah. Belief in our Lord requires 4 necessities. To truly, a lot of people ask me, how do I know, Sister Layla, if I really believe in Allah? Well, if you really believe in Allah, these are 4 necessities that are essential to that belief. And for those of us like myself who try to, call the people to Islam, and for you guys, most of you are parents. You guys, it's your job as a mother. It's a job as your father to educate your children, to give them the correct belief system, To teach your children what it means to believe in Allah, you have to first of all teach them, number one, that belief in Allah exists with his essence. And he is above his throne. Remember, we talked about that. These same Murji'ah, these same Muslims in America who don't believe that faith and action work together. Many of them, if you ask them where is Allah, they say Allah is everywhere. No, he's not. Allah, his essence is above the throne. His knowledge is everywhere, but he is above his throne. Number two, you have to teach your children to believe that Allah, he is the one who creates. He is the one who provides. He is the absolute ruler. And we all belong to him, not to each other. Allah, he creates good and he creates evil. Who created this war? Okay? Allah willed the war to be, and he's got good reason for that. I'm looking and seeing how right now as we're speaking, the Muslims are trying to change Allah's laws around because they think America is exclusive, okay? And they think that they have that right. That's why Allah has brought this war. He's justified in everything he do, whether you like it or not. Teach your children this. We have to also teach them, if you truly believe in Allah, that nothing is equal to him. Nothing is like him. Don't try to liken Allah to his creation. Don't think that anyone is like him. Perfection only exists with him. Okay? And also the fourth point, Allah is the one that can bring life. Allah is the only one that can bring death. He's the cause. A person's not going to die unless Allah wills it. Nothing will be created unless Allah wills it. And he will bring back to life all of us on the day of judgment. And he is the only judge who knows everything. And he will admit whoever he chooses into paradise. These are the four necessities that are essential if you claim that you believe in Allah and you're trying to teach your children or others about Allah. And where's the dalil? Because we are a people of evidence. We don't speak without knowledge. That's one of the things Allah hates the most, is for anyone to speak about him without knowledge. Well, the evidence of those 4 points are Al-Fatiha. Al-Fatiha, which is the one chapter of the Quran that we recite over and over and over again. It's the only chapter of the Quran that you have to know how to recite in Arabic by heart because your prayers are not accepted. And what does those words mean in English? Well, we're saying in the interpretation of meaning, in the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. All praise is due to him. He is the Lord of the worlds. He is the entirely merciful and the especially merciful. He's the sovereign of the day of recompense. It is he that we worship. It is he that we ask for help. He is the only one that can guide us to the straight path. He's the only one that can bestow his favor upon us. So we ask him to guide us to the straight path, the path of those whom he guided before and gave his favor to. And to not guide us, to not do to us what he did to those who earned his anger and who were led astray. So the Fatiha, this is why you have to learn it. You have to learn how to pronounce it correctly too. in the Arabic, not in English. My shahadas, you got to learn the Fatiha in Arabic and know the meaning of it in English. Because this is the dalil, the proof that if you truly believe in Allah, you will live by those four things. And once the heart has developed this solid belief in Allah based on those 4 points, then that's when we articulate them with that shahada. Nowadays, we're giving shahada to people the wrong way. Nowadays, we're going to conferences telling people to stand up and say that they believe in God, and then we say, now you a Muslim. No, you have to go over those 4 points with them. They have to understand those 4 points, just like you cannot marry a Christian woman unless certain conditions exist. Number 1, she has to be a woman of chastity. Number 2, her heart has to be inclined towards Islam. And number 3, she has to understand and accept that Jesus was a prophet. If those 3 conditions don't exist, you can't marry a woman because she claimed to be a Christian. But how many of you men are sitting up here with Kafir women and y'all claim they were Christians? Get that person off the microphone. Get that person off the mic. Okay? We have to start taking this religion more seriously, people. We have to live by Allah's laws, not think that because you in America, you can pick and choose what laws are essential and what laws are not. And Allah tells us in the Quran that the best example, one of the best examples for us of belief in him is the example of Prophet Abraham, alayhi salam. Why? Because he said, then do you see what you have been worshiping, you and your ancient forefathers? Indeed, they are enemies to me. By the way, Abraham did not live in an Islamic state either. He lived in a place just like America. It's just that the name was different. It was called Babylon. But they were Kafirs just like America. They fornicated, they adulterated, they drank, they partied just like America. But he didn't say because we live in America, we can rewrite Allah's laws. We can pick and choose which of his commands to follow. No, he said, do you see what you worshiping and what your forefathers worship? You are all enemies to me. He didn't use the country he lived in as an excuse like the Muslims in America are doing right now as we speak. Prophet Abraham went through a process of affirming his belief in Allah while talking with his father and his people. He didn't have a problem checking his relatives. He didn't sit there and say, because the kinship is under the throne of Allah, I'm going to set boundaries for the gay people in my family. I'm not going to cut off my gay relatives. I'm going to just allow them to interact with me with boundaries. I'm just going to tell them, don't bring your boyfriend around me or your girlfriend around me. That's not Islam. That ain't how Abraham reacted. And he lived in a Kafir society too. Okay? Prophet Abraham, alayhi salam, he disowned their associating partners with Allah in worship. And what did he do? Did he set boundaries for his father? Did he set boundaries for his mother? Did he set boundaries? No, he did what's called in Islam al-bara. He disassociated from them. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Right now, as we speak, we got men and women too. Oh yeah, that's another issue. Men and women meeting together as we speak, thinking that they can pick and choose what laws of Allah, what commands of Allah to implement in this country. because it's a Kafir country. What country did Abraham live in? Was his country a Muslim country? He disassociated. He did el-bara, as Allah commands us to do. We distance ourselves from anyone or anything that contradicts Allah's laws. We don't set boundaries and accept them. Don't get it twisted, American Muslims. Who are you people? You better than Abraham? Who are you people? I can tell you what you are. You don't want to hear what I got to say, though, because it ain't pretty. And I don't need a PhD to tell you. Okay? So Prophet Abraham, alayhi salam, he negated worshiping false deities, and then he affirmed his loyalty and allegiance to Allah in the action that we called el-wala. Allah teaches us to have allegiance to everything that Allah commands us to have allegiance to, and to disassociate from that which contradicts it. Listen to what Abraham said. He said, indeed, they are enemies to me, all of them, except for Allah, the Lord of this world. You don't sit there because you live in a Kafir society. Show me one. Name one society on this planet that is Sharia. There is no Sharia society anywhere on earth. Period. Dot. And then after declaring this, Abraham established the evidence, mandating the action by referring to Allah by actions and his lordship. Listen to what Prophet Abraham said. He said, Allah is the Lord of the worlds who created me, and it is he who guides me, and it is he who feeds me and gives me drink. And when I am sick, it is he who cures me. And it is he who will cause me to die and bring me back to life. And it is he who I aspire that he will forgive me of my sin. He didn't set boundaries. He didn't succumb to the evil practices of the people in his family and his society, because his entire society was corrupt. Just like Prophet Lot, his nephew. His nephew lived in a corrupt society of LGBTQ. Did Prophet Lot set boundaries? Did Prophet Lot set boundaries? Or did he distance himself and do el-bara, like Allah says? I'm telling you, Muslims, it's some serious stuff going on right now as I'm speaking. We got people trying to change, to make Islam filthy, to make Islam here in America twisted, to make Islam match society. Why? Because these men and women were given money. They were paid by the government to do it. And they are such good speakers with their beautiful diction and beautiful shaven beards and their half-dressed women and their soft voices that people are falling for them as I'm speaking right now. It's getting ready to be some filthy stuff happening here in America real soon, guys. And when it gets off, expect Allah's wrath to reach here really bad. Y'all think the hurricanes are something? It's just a sign. It's a wake up from Allah. Wait till those bombs start going off. And there will be bombs going off real soon. Because Allah, he will have vengeance. Just like he took vengeance on Abraham's people. Just like he had his vengeance on Lot's people. Oh, he gonna take it out here. Also, Prophet Abraham, alayhi salam, he established the worship of Allah through dua. Like I tell you guys, Islam teaches us to fight differently. As Muslims, we're always going to be outnumbered, outmanned, outgunned. But we have something that the non-Muslims don't have. As Umar radiallahu anha said, we have our belief in Allah, our fear of his punishment, and our supplication. How did Prophet Abraham fight against a whole society like America? He fought against them all with supplication. That's the essence of worship. Listen to what Prophet Abraham did. He said, "Oh Allah, grant me authority and join me with the righteous and grant me a reputation of honor among the later generations of people. And place me among the inheritors of paradise and forgive my father. Indeed, he has been of those who went astray. And do not disgrace me on the day that they are all resurrected, the day when there will not be any benefit from their money or children, but only for those who come to Allah with a strong believing heart." That's how Abraham fought. He didn't succumb. He didn't take the bribe of money. He didn't take the bribe of a task force and fame. He didn't accept the bribe to come to turkey dinner next month. He made dua asking Allah to keep him firm and not fall for the crap. And that's the same thing his nephew did, Lot. When Lot lived in a whole country filled with homosexuality, like America too, he didn't become LGBTQ. He didn't allow the gay people to come around him and interact with him and his family. He didn't set boundaries. He cut them off. He did el bara and made dua too. And Allah destroyed his people like he destroyed these people of Abraham's too. So from this example, we see that Islam is real. Islam is not just a religion, it's a way of life perfected for us by Allah. Allah taught us how to handle ourselves in all situations. And I want you guys to know that people are the same. Our names may change over the years. Our languages may even change, but our character is the same. The essence of the human being never changes. What's happening today is nothing new. This history just repeats itself because people, what Allah said in the Quran, man will always be arrogant. Man will always think himself superior. Man will always be weak in his faith. So Allah has to keep sending the same lessons over and over and over and over again to us.